But let me talk to you about law in Israel. You're the justice minister in Israel. You changed the law this summer to allow, I think, up to 20 years in prison for Palestinian stone throwers, who you call terrorists, if they throw stones.
Sorry, you have a mistake. It's not Palestinian. It's every citizen that's throwing stones on a car can sit and can get up to 20 years in prison. And by the way,
so will you be prosecuting Israeli settlers who throw stones and carry out price tag attacks, who burn orchards, carry out acts of vandalism, burn babies even?
Of course, the law is the same law for everyone. Just 2 weeks ago, in our New Year Eve, Alexander Lavlovich has been murdered by Palestinians who threw stone on his car.
And no one's defending that. I'm asking for. You say that everyone should be treated equally. Can you tell me?
Everyone should be treated equally.
Can you tell me
every murder? Just a second. Every murder, it doesn't matter if he's a Jewish or a Muslim, should sit in jail for the rest of his life.
Okay. Well, on that basis, can you tell me then how many cases of settler violence between 2000 and 2011 resulted in an indictment?
Excuse me, there is every case, you know, we investigate every case.
No, that wasn't my question. How many cases resulted in an indictment?
I don't know the numbers, and I don't know,
1 in 10, Ms. Shaked. 1 in 10 cases of settler violence resulted in an indictment. 1 in 10.
How many Palestinians got arrested? But I can tell you that we investigate
Is 1 in 10 a good statistic for you?
It doesn't. I don't know the statistics, but I can tell you...
It's 1 in 10 cases of settler violence between 2000 and 2011 resulted in an indictment. 9 out of 10 didn't. That is not an equal treatment of law.
Excuse me, I think you're totally wrong. We'll put any
Those are the figures from Israeli human rights groups.
Any violence against Jews or against Arab. I can tell you that we took some very, very extreme step recently. Very, very extreme step. We use administrative detention against Israeli citizens because of this violence.
You say that,
so but Israeli government doing a very, very serious effort.
You say serious effort.
Yes. You're not letting me finish.
We'll deal with this quote.
20 minorities of extremes Jewish who are acting in violence, they will be arrested. And
he says they are. He says they've been tolerated by the Israeli government.
It's possible. It's totally not true. The Israeli government
should really talk to the former head of Israeli security who says you're wrong.
Anything in order to assure a peace life of everyone. It doesn't matter if it's a Jewish or Muslims. We are fighting the minorities in Israel who are racist, but the Palestinian Authority doesn't. The Palestinian Authority
with respect, I'm not asking you about the Palestinian Authority. You're not Palestinian. I'm asking you about Israel.
I want to tell you,
of course you want to talk about the Palestinians. I'm asking you about the Israeli president. He says your society is sick.
I'm proud in what my government is doing. And we have a law in Israel. According to the law, everyone is equal.
It's good.
Over 1,000 right-wing protesters gathered in Jerusalem over the weekend in front of the National Police headquarters. They were demonstrating against the death of a member of the Hilltop Youth, an extremist religious nationalist movement. Ayelet Shaked was killed during a police car chase earlier this week. He was just 16 years old, and police say that was an accident, possibly caused by stone throwers. During the protests that followed, religious right-wing demonstrators shouted racist slogans against Arabs, and one man even putting his baby's stroller in front of a police vehicle. 4 officers were injured and 5 protesters arrested. Let's talk to the editor of Arutz Sheva English, Yoni Kempinski. Hi, Yoni. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, how are you doing?
So, first of all, what exactly happened to Ayelet Shaked? He was killed when his car flipped over, and the police say they are investigating what exactly the cause of death was. What do the protesters believe really happened?
So let's first talk really about the incident itself. What was happening there, according to suspicion, of course, is the fact that these so-called Hilltop Youth were involved in some sort of activity against the local Arabs, throwing stones at Arab cars that were driving by, and the police acted against them. How did they act against them? There was a car chase. The youth went into their car and started running away from the area, from the scene, and the police were after them. Now, what happened after was something that, by the way, is part of procedures of police around the world, is ramming the car of the suspects who their activity, as we said, throwing stones against Arab vehicles, were endangering life. So the procedure was to ram into the car. What happened after then is something that is really being investigated. Now, the car flipped over, and somehow Hovia, this young boy under the age of 17, he came out of the car. He fell out of the car. He went out of the car earlier in some sort of a scenario that he was killed. His friends were wounded. Some even actually fled from the scene at the first point. And basically that was what happened. The issue is that what happened after that, according to many of the people that are there, that live in the area, of course, the families and the friends of these youth, is that the police closed the area, did not allow anyone to come close. And we know that the Knesset member Bezalel Smotrich tried to come to there and to see what happened and try to understand, and, not investigate professionally, but try to understand what happened. And he himself was even physically moved away, blocked away. So that's the first claim, that the police didn't let anyone in, isn't really investigating, and is only basically investigating themselves. And the first demand coming from the protesters is some sort of commission of inquiry that is outside of the police to try to understand what exactly happened there.